Welcome to the Capula podcast, the Ultimate Exchange. My name's Neil White. I'm joined with my co-host, Richard Stone, and our two excellent guests as well, Elisa Castro and David Barker from Dimension Software. On our last topic, we talked around people. We're now moving on to our second topic, which is around process and how that has an impact in terms of manufacturing, and how digital tool sets like Dimension Software can provide has a real positive impact and can help with change as well. Processes and having a good process sets a foundation, and that foundation generates business success. And there are many different ways in terms of processes across the business. I mean, one particular topic is around sort of OEE, for example, and OEE has been around for many, many years, probably longer than I've been alive, to be perfectly frank with you. And it has a place within industry, but one of its challenges is very much asset-centric and asset-focused, and it doesn't take into the concept of an organization being many different processes, many different people, effectively many different moving parts. And, you know, the concept of what we're looking at we're talking about digital tools and align that to digital strategy and so forth, is actually how do you take that as a whole rather than just as an asset perspective? You know, the concepts around Dimension Software really bring that to life a little bit as well.
Can I just pick up on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Go, Richard.
Yeah, I mean, people know me. I've been dealing with OEE probably for 30 years. Yeah. And it is great. It's a fantastic measure. But it does, as you say, focus on the asset. And anyone's walked around a large manufacturing facility or a large facility for energy production, or it could be distributed mining processes, they're big. You can't see what's going on. Yeah. And if you just focus on your asset, you don't know what's going on upstream and you don't know what's going on downstream. You get blockages, whether it's a starvation of materials, it could be another machine breakdown, or it could be shortage of raw materials. And being able to see that in a single location, single pane of glass. But to do that, you do need visibility of other systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's interesting in a mining context, isn't it, where you've got big mining trucks moving around in cycles, from a pit up to a processing plant, and being able to see where trucks might be delayed, or there's some sort of blockage or an area that's been constrained. So being able to see that not just from an asset perspective, but also maybe a spatial perspective, right? And it's super important to bring it all together. And the other one is even things like operating envelopes, right? So you might have control loops that are operating the plant and being able to see, are they following the set point correctly? Because they may be oscillating. There may be there's some stiction in the valves, or there's also saturation where those valves are completely open, and they can't actually do a proportional control. So being able to bring that to light and actually see where the bottlenecks are.
Yeah.
So there's a wide range here. Again, could be spatial, could be process, could be control loop. But then bringing that other information together. So, has something changed? Has there been some maintenance activity on that loop or on that truck or whatever? Maybe there's some alarms that are coming through, or events even. So, bringing all that contextual data across to make good decisions.
Yeah, and I've seen in a lot of industries, you will have clean environments and prep environments, and that has to be divided because obviously what you're doing, whether it's pharmaceutical or foods. Yeah. And that we talked earlier about communications and people. It happens here with processes as well. You need to be able to communicate with each other because there's information on both sides physically of a wall that you need to be able to share.
Yes, I believe that is the case, that you have seen in the past, that you have these islands of information across the process, but across as well the systems that you have within your organization. And it's hard for you just to take that system completely away and start from scratch. So how do you manage to integrate those systems and have that information available so that the bottlenecks can be seen easily? That's the kind of things that, it has been so complicated to do in the past. And nowadays we are having now technologies and platforms that can do that. That will help you as well to have a clear idea of your targets in real time, because you need to have access to all these informations to know, for example, if all your KPIs are in target, right? Like if you have, if we are talking about sustainability, how much energy are you consuming? How much water are you consuming? Are you within the settings that you should have for your organization on that specific months, etc.? So is having access to that information and taking, once again, to what we were saying before, taking actions, taking decisions at the right time. So that is not impacting you down the line, right?
I think your point about sustainability is really important to hear. If I went back 10 years, we kind of talked about it, and it'd be a line on a P&L that just got forgotten about. With energy costs going up, we can't ignore this. And everything we do within manufacturing or facilities has got a cost to it in terms of energy, and being able to identify about where those costs are incurred and how we can work on it is really, really important.
Yeah, I think you're right. And energy, there's water, but even chemical, you might be having some sort of, as you say, prep of incoming material. Maybe there's some cyclones or something that are removing dirt or something from a process. Being able to look at the chemical usage or energy usage, because you could be making a really good product, but it's super expensive. And you're just not profitable. So it's it all has to come together.
Yeah.
And if I could just pick up one other point, just try and link a couple of terms that you used, Elisa and David. One was certainly around bottlenecks, and the other one was around sort of context. And we've been working with one particular client at the moment that has got all the data within their sort of OT space, but it's not necessarily sort of contextualized. But because of that, the bottleneck is that they've effectively run assets to failure, which is okay for some businesses. That's their model. But in this particular instances, those assets are on a 6-year lead time from a supply chain perspective. So that causes a real problem. The consequence is that they effectively end up stockpiling very expensive assets on back order, when actually if you start to bring that context data from the OT, make it more visible, understand across the process chain, you can actually eliminate those potential bottlenecks, not have that stockpiling of expensive assets, and actually have a more consolidated plan in terms of how you're supplying, maintaining equipment, responding to problems, but you're doing it within context of both operations and business as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was reading some articles, the other week, and you're looking at things like gas turbines, for power. We're talking multiple megawatts here, or power transformers. They've got multiple years of lead time now. So being able to look after those assets, and whether it's lab data and all sorts of reliability information that will tell you basically the health of that asset, and making sure we don't run to fail.
Yeah, and the point you make, Neil, I mean, we kind of talked about the processes within making something. Yeah. We've also got like processes in building and supplying things as well. Yeah.
No, it's really, really important. I mean, it's a great topic, really, in terms of process. And, as part of the overall 4 key topics that we're talking around, it's quite intrinsic. And as I said at the very beginning, having that foundation creates business success. We talked around OEE as being, having a place around the assets, but you've got to look at the totality of your estate effectively and do the right thing.
Thank you for joining our Ultimate Exchange session around process. Next time we're going to be looking together at production. Please share, please subscribe, and join us next time. Thank you.